The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Ta. As the one who defied the council to continue this work, Ta said solemnly, "I will be the first test subject." June shook his head. "It's too risky. We should test it on samples first." "We have," Ta replied, "for months. Now we need a living subject, and I volunteer." Hannah stepped forward. "If this works, both our worlds will have to acknowledge what we've accomplished together." "And if it fails?" asked Bo. "Then at least we tried," Ta said simply. "Better to die attempting to save my people than to watch passively as we fade into extinction." The next day, in a sterile chamber, Dr. Kim administered the first treatment to Ta. As the genetic material entered the alien's body, humans and Navi alike held their breath, united in hope that transcended their different worlds. Ta lay motionless on the medical bed, connected to monitors that beeped softly in the quiet room. Dr. Jun Kim checked the readings for the 100th time, his eyes red from lack of sleep. It had been 72 hours since they had administered the treatment. "Any change?" Sue asked, entering with 2 cups of coffee. Jun shook his head. "Vital signs remain stable, but no evidence the treatment is working yet." He accepted the coffee gratefully. The genetic markers should have shown some response by now. Bo stood silently in the corner, those large alien eyes fixed on Ta's still form. "The council has discovered our location," Bo said suddenly. "They have demanded that Earth authorities shut down this facility." Hannah rushed into the room, her usual composure shaken. "We have a problem. The UN Security Council is voting in 6 hours on whether to close our research station. The United States and Russia are pushing for immediate shutdown." "They can't do that," Sue protested. "Tai is in the middle of treatment." "They can, and they will," Hannah replied grimly. "Fear is winning." The Pure Path faction on the Navi homeworld has convinced many that this research threatens the natural order. They'd found sympathetic ears among Earth's conservative leaders. June looked at the monitors again. "We need more time. The therapy needs at least another week to show results." "We may not have a week," Hannah said quietly. As they spoke, one of the monitors began to beep more rapidly. Everyone froze, then rushed to Ta's bedside. The Navy's silvery blue skin had taken on a slight glow that hadn't been there before. "What's happening?" Bo asked urgently. June checked the readings. "Cell division rates are increasing. The damaged sections of DNA are showing repair activity." "Is that good or bad?" Hannah asked. "Good. Very good," Sue confirmed, studying another monitor. "The human repair sequences are successfully integrating with Ta's genetic code." For the next 4 hours, they watched as Ta's body underwent subtle changes. The monitors showed increasing activity in the reproductive cell production. Then suddenly, Ty's eyes opened. "Did it work?" Ty asked weakly. June smiled. "Early signs are very promising. How do you feel?" "Different. Stronger." Ta slowly sat up. "I can feel changes within my body." The celebration was interrupted when the station's alert system activated. A message flashed across the main screen. "Unauthorized VOA or DANG and Pro Juries." "They'd come for us," Hannah said, checking her tablet. "Joint Earth-Navy Enforcement Team. They'll be here in minutes." "We need to protect our research data," Jun said. "And Ta." Bo stepped forward. "I have prepared for this. There is a ship docked at the emergency exit. It can take us to the Navi colony on Mars if necessary." Sue quickly began transferring their research to portable drives. "We can't let them stop us now. We're too close." As they prepared to evacuate, the door to the lab slid open. Instead of security forces, Du entered, followed by an elderly Navi whom June had never seen before. "Elder Moon," Bo gasped, bowing deeply. The ancient Navy, skin almost translucent with age, moved slowly into the room. "So this is where the future of our species is being decided," Elder Moon said, voice soft but commanding. "Elder Moon is the head of the Science Council," Ta explained to the humans, struggling to stand in respect. "Why are you here, Elder?" "To see for myself what my young scientists have accomplished." Elder Moon approached Ta, examining the younger Navi with keen eyes. "The council is divided. Before we make our final decision, I wish to witness your work firsthand." "The treatment is working," Jun said, showing Elder Moon the data. Ta's reproductive cells are repairing themselves using the human genetic sequences. The purple sky over Zil looked sick and wrong. It showed the deadly radiation that was killing the once beautiful planet. Elder Hannah stood at the top of the council tower, watching her world die. Her eyes were tired from crying and lack of sleep. "Elder, we have lost another city," Jin said quietly. Jin was young, but already had the serious face of someone who had seen too much death. 3 million more people are gone. Hannah felt her shoulders drop with the weight of this news. The Zilari people had lived among the stars for thousands of years. They had built peaceful cities on many planets. Their technology was advanced beyond most other races, but nothing they had could stop the strange star radiation that was killing their home world. "Our ships can't take everyone away," Hannah said in a soft voice, "and the other Zilari worlds are already full. They can't take any more people." The last few days had been filled with angry debates in the Council of Elders. The Zilari had always been careful with other alien races. They preferred to watch from a distance rather than talk directly. But now, with their people dying by the millions, they had no other choice. Hannah looked at the communication officer. "Send the signal. Send it everywhere, even to the parts of space we haven't explored. Someone must hear us." The officer pressed the button. A powerful beam shot from Zil's largest tower, carrying their desperate message into the blackness of space. The signal held all the information about the radiation, their dying people, and their failed attempts to stop it. Hannah watched the signal's light fade into the distance. Would anyone hear them? Would anyone care about the problems of aliens they had never met? Or would the entire universe simply watch as the Zilari people disappeared forever? "What if no one answers?" Jin asked, saying out loud what everyone was thinking. "Then we keep trying until the last of us is gone," Hannah replied. She turned away from the window, unable to look at the purple sky anymore. The color reminded her of bruises, as if the planet itself was injured. In the room below the tower, thousands of Zilari worked at communication stations. Their skin, once brightly colored, had begun to pale from radiation sickness. Many wore protection suits, but the supplies were running low. The room buzzed with quiet voices and the beeping of machines. "Elder, the first radiation wave will hit the capital city in 6 days," the science officer reported. "We should start moving people underground." Hannah nodded. "Begin the preparations. Use the old mining tunnels and the subway systems. Any space below ground could help." As she gave orders, Hannah tried to keep her voice strong. The people needed to believe their leaders had a plan. But in truth, going underground would only buy them a little more time. Without help, the Zilari civilization would end. That night, Hannah stood alone on the tower balcony. The purple sky had darkened to a deep violet. Stars peeked through the radiation clouds. Somewhere out there, their message was traveling through the darkness. "Please," she whispered to the stars. "Please hear us." She thought about the billions of Zilari who trusted her to save them. She thought about the children who would never grow up if help didn't come. She thought about the thousands of years of Zilari history, art, music, and knowledge that would disappear. As the night grew colder, Hannah stayed at her post, watching the stars. Their signal was strong. Their message was clear. But would anyone answer in time? The fate of an entire civilization now depended on the kindness of strangers they had never met. The quiet hum of the horizon's engines filled the bridge as Captain Ju studied the star charts on her screen. The Earth space vessel had been exploring this sector for 3 months without finding anything remarkable. Just another routine mapping mission. "Captain." The communication officer's voice cracked with excitement. "We're picking up a signal. It's "It's not from any Earth ship." The bridge went completely silent. Every crew member froze at their station. Humanity had been traveling between stars for only 30 years. No one had ever found proof of alien life. Captain Ju took a deep breath to steady herself. Her heart was pounding, but her voice remained calm. "Put it on the main screen." Science Officer Taehyun adjusted his glasses nervously as he worked his control panel. "It appears to be a distress call. Our computers are trying to translate it now." The main screen flickered to life. The images made the crew gasp. A planet with a strange purple sky. Tall, elegant beings with 4 arms rushing through streets. Buildings crumbling. What looked like massive evacuation ships launching into space. "Those are aliens," whispered Navigation Officer Mena. "Actually aliens." Taehyun's fingers flew over his keyboard. "The translation is coming through. They call themselves the Zilari. Their planet is being destroyed by some kind of stellar radiation. Their technology can't stop it." He looked up, his face pale. "They're dying by the millions." Captain Ju stood up from her chair, staring at the screen. "How far are they from our position?" 3 weeks at maximum speed," Minna answered, already calculating the route. Security Chief Do-hyun stepped forward, his face serious. "Captain, we should report this to Earth Command first. This could be dangerous. We don't know anything about these beings." The bridge crew looked at Captain Ju, waiting for her decision. The fate of first contact rested on her shoulders. "We will report to Earth," she said finally. "But we're also changing course immediately. We're not waiting for permission." She pointed at the screen where the alien faces showed clear signs of suffering. "These people need help now." "But Captain," Do-hyun argued, "we're just one ship. What can we possibly do against a planetary disaster?" Ju walked closer to the screen, studying the images of the dying world. "Throughout human history, we faced disasters that should have ended us. Plagues, wars, climate collapse. Each time, we survived because we refused to give up." She turned to face her crew. "If anyone can understand what they're going through, it's us." The navigation officer nodded and began plotting the new course. The communication officer sent an urgent message to Earth, explaining their discovery and decision. As the Horizon's engines roared to full power, the crew returned to their stations with new purpose. They were no longer just explorers. They were about to become the first humans to meet an alien civilization. In her private quarters that night, Captain Ju watched the Zilari distress message again. The alien faces, though strange and different, showed emotions she recognized. Fear, hope, desperation. "We're coming," she whispered to the screen. "Hold on." She knew that the Horizon alone couldn't save an entire planet. They would need help from Earth. Bigger ships, more resources, experts in radiation containment. Would Earth respond quickly enough? Would other nations join the rescue effort? For the next 3 weeks, the Horizon raced through space faster than any human ship had ever traveled before. The crew trained for every possible first contact scenario. They studied the Zilari language from the transmission. They prepared medical supplies that might work for alien biology. Captain Ju stood on the bridge each day, watching the stars streak by, hoping they weren't too late. Humanity's first meeting with alien life shouldn't be to witness their extinction. As they drew closer to Zil, one thought kept her going. If the situation were reversed, she would hope someone would come for Earth too. The Horizon slowed as it entered Zil's orbit. The planet below looked sick, its atmosphere swirling with purple radiation clouds. Captain Ju and her landing team prepared to meet the aliens who had sent the distress call. When the humans stepped onto Zilari soil, they felt small and plain. The Zilari stood nearly 10 feet tall with glowing skin that shifted colors like gentle waves. Each had 4 long arms and large eyes that reminded the humans of pearls. The aliens looked at the human visitors with clear disappointment. "These are the beings who answered our call," one Zilari whispered to another. "They're so small." Elder Hannah stepped forward to greet Captain Ju. Though her voice was polite, her face showed her worry. "We thank you for coming, though I fear you cannot help us. Our problem requires technology beyond what your ship seems capable of providing." Captain Ju smiled. "Don't judge our abilities by our appearance, Elder Hana. We may surprise you." The Zilari took the humans to their main science facility. Chief Engineer Kyung walked silently, studying everything. The Zilari technology was beautiful and advanced, with floating displays and machines that seemed to work by thought alone. Yet for all their advancement, they were failing to solve their radiation problem. The Zilari scientists showed the humans their plans for a planetary shield. The designs were complex and would have impressed any Earth engineer, but Kyung noticed something right away. "May I see what materials you're using?" he asked. The Zilari showed him their supply room. Inside were crystals and metals unlike anything on Earth. Kyung ran tests on several samples while everyone watched. "I see the problem," he said finally. "It's not your shield design. It's these materials. They become unstable when hit by this specific type of radiation." Elder Hannah's face fell. "We have tried every material known to us. Nothing works." Kyung smiled and opened his case. Inside were samples from Earth. "But you haven't tried materials known to humans. You see, Earth went through its own radiation disasters during our nuclear age. We had to develop special materials that could block radiation without breaking down." Dr. Sunwoo, who studied alien life forms, added, "Humans aren't as technologically advanced as you in many ways, but we faced many near extinctions on our planet. It forced us to become problem solvers." Captain Ju sent the test results back to Earth. The response was faster than anyone expected. Countries that had fought each other for centuries suddenly worked together. Within days, a fleet of Earth's fastest ships launched, carrying the special materials and thousands of engineers who volunteered to help. The Zilari watched in amazement as the human fleet arrived. They had not believed such a young species could organize so quickly. "Why would your people help us?" Elder Hannah asked Captain Ju as they watched the ships land. "You didn't know we existed until a few weeks ago." "Because that's what humans do," Ju replied. "When we see suffering, something in us needs to help. It's how we've survived our own darkest times." The human engineers worked day and night alongside the Zilari. They combined Earth's radiation-resistant materials with Zilari shield technology. The work was difficult, and many times they failed. But the humans kept trying new approaches. One evening, a young Zilari scientist watched Engineer Kyung rebuild a failed component for the 5th time. "You've tried this design 4 times already," the Zilari said. "Why continue?" Kyung looked up from his work. "Because the 5th time might be the one that works. And if not, there's always the 6th try." As the shield components began taking shape across the planet, something else happened. The Zilari, who had lived in fear for months, began to hope again. They watched these small aliens work tirelessly to save a world not their own. "Perhaps," Elder Hannah said as she watched humans and Zilari working side by side, "we were wrong to stay isolated from other species for so long. We might have much to learn from each other." The first test of the shield was scheduled for the next day. No one knew if it would work, but for the first time since the disaster began, the Zilari looked to the future with hope instead of despair. The Earth ships appeared in Zil's sky like new stars. One by one, they broke through the purple clouds, their lights cutting through the darkness. The Zilari people stopped what they were doing and looked up. Many cried at the sight. For months, they had been dying with no hope. Now, the sky was filled with ships from a world they had never seen before. Young Zilari children pointed and gasped as the human ships landed. They had never seen beings from another world. The landing areas filled with thousands of humans in work suits, unloading huge crates and strange machines. "What are they bringing?" asked a small Zilari child, pulling on Elder Hannah's robe. "Hope," Hannah answered simply. The humans called it Operation Salvation. They set up work centers all over the planet. Human engineers with dirt on their faces worked next to elegant Zilari scientists. The humans brought special materials that could resist the deadly radiation, things the Zilari had never seen before. Subin, a human who studied other cultures, worked with Jin to organize supply deliveries. "I find your people amazing," Subin said as they checked off items on a list. "You were exploring space when humans were still figuring out basic farming. Yet here we are, teaching you something new." Jin nodded. "Perhaps that is why we couldn't solve this problem. We haven't faced the struggles your species has. You developed these materials because you had to survive your own radiation disasters. Different paths lead to different knowledge," Subin replied with a smile. Day and night, the work continued. The shield would consist of hundreds of connected stations around the planet. Each station generated a protective field that would join with the others to cover the entire world. The design combined Zilari power systems with human materials and radiation science. 3 days before the shield was set to activate, disaster struck. Engineer Kyung was checking the main control station when alarms began to sound. "The radiation is increasing," shouted a Zilari technician. "A new wave is coming, stronger than the last." Kyung ran to the main panel. "We need to activate the shield now, before it's fully ready." The Zilari engineers looked at each other in worry. "The system isn't complete," one said. "The calculations show it could fail completely if activated too soon." Kyung was already typing commands into the control system. "We don't have time to finish it properly. We have to try now or thousands more will die in this radiation wave." The main stabilizer began to smoke as they forced it to power up early. Lights flickered throughout the facility. "It's failing," cried the Zilari engineer. "Reroute power through the secondary nodes," Kyung shouted, his fingers flying across the controls. The Zilari engineer shook his head. "Our calculations show that would cause a complete system collapse." Kyung didn't stop working. "Sometimes you have to ignore the calculations. On Earth, we've survived by taking chances when nothing else works." With no time to argue, the Zilari engineers joined him. They rewired the control panels, bypassing safety systems and creating new power pathways that weren't in any design. The shield generators screamed as they pushed beyond their limits. For a terrible moment, it seemed like everything would explode. Then suddenly, a blue light shot from the main tower. It spread across the sky, connecting with other stations around the planet. The deadly purple clouds pushed against it, but couldn't break through. Inside the control room, humans and Zilari held their breath, watching the radiation readings. Slowly, the numbers began to drop for the first time in months. "It's working," whispered Jin. "It's actually working." Across the planet, people looked up to see a soft blue dome covering their world. The shield wasn't perfect. It wouldn't save the areas already too damaged by radiation. Those places would remain empty for generations, but the shield would hold back any new radiation. That night, Zilari and humans celebrated together. They were different in almost every way: size, appearance, history, technology. Yet they had found common ground in the most important things: courage, hope, and the desire to help others survive. For the first time in months, the Zilari slept without fear of the sky above them. The sun shone through the blue shield that now protected Zil. 1 year had passed since the radiation crisis. The planet was healing, though slowly. Today was an important day for both Zilari and humans. Captain Ju walked beside Elder Hannah through the new memorial garden. Around them stood thousands of crystal sculptures, each one representing 1,000 Zilari who had died. The sculptures caught the sunlight and sent colorful patterns across the ground. It was beautiful, but also sad. "This way, Captain," Elder Hannah said, leading Ju to the center of the garden, where a large stage had been built. People from both worlds filled the garden. The tall, four-armed Zilari stood next to the much smaller humans. Children from both species played together, no longer afraid of their differences. Elder Hannah stepped onto the stage. Her voice carried across the crowd. 1 year ago, Our world was dying. Millions of our people were already gone. We had no hope left. She looked at the human section of the crowd. Then came humanity. A species we had never met before answered our call for help. The Zilari in the crowd bowed their heads in respect to the humans. We Zilari had traveled the stars for thousands of years, Hana continued. Yet when we faced our darkest hour, it was the youngest space travelers who saved us. Captain Ju joined Hana on the stage. She looked small next to the Zilari leader, but her voice was strong. We came because that's what humans do. Throughout our history, we have faced many disasters. We have almost destroyed ourselves many times. But we always found a way to survive. She looked up at the blue shield covering the sky. Perhaps that is humanity's gift to the stars. Not our technology or our knowledge, but our refusal to give up, even when things seem impossible. After the speeches, Hana and Ju walked together through the quiet paths of the garden. Many Zilari had moved to new colony worlds with human help. Those who stayed were rebuilding their cities under the protection of the shield. Do you think our peoples would have found each other without the disaster? Hana asked as they walked. Ju thought about this. Maybe later, maybe in a different way. But I think we were meant to meet. Some things are written in the stars themselves. Above them, ships from Earth and Zilari colonies landed at the spaceport. The new alliance between humans and Zilari had changed everything. The Zilari shared their knowledge of space and their advanced technology. Humans shared their creative solutions and their never-give-up attitude. Together, they had started exploring parts of the galaxy neither had visited before. Human doctors worked with Zilari healers to develop new medicines. Zilari engineers and human scientists designed ships that could travel faster than either species had gone alone. At a small house near the garden, Engineer Kyung sat with his Zilari friend, the scientist who had worked with him during the crisis. They were drawing plans for a new kind of shield, one that might someday heal the damaged parts of Zil. It might take 100 years, the Zilari scientist said, but we could make this world whole again. Kyung nodded. Then we'll work for 100 years. That's what friends do. As night fell, lights came on in the garden, making the crystal memorials glow. Captain Ju looked up at the stars through the blue shield. She thought about how one distress call had changed 2 civilizations forever. The Zilari had saved countless human lives by sharing their medical knowledge. Humans had saved the Zilari from extinction. Together, they were stronger than either had been alone. Elder Hana stood beside Ju, also looking at the stars. The old Zilari saying is true, she said softly. Sometimes the darkest sky reveals the brightest stars. Ju smiled. The universe was vast and mostly unknown. But now, 2 species would explore it together, each making the other stronger, wiser, and more complete. That evening, after hours of discussions, Jum stood on the research center's roof, staring at the stars. Sue joined him, handing him a fresh coffee. Thinking about our new blue friends, she asked. I'm thinking about what Tay said. They visited 27 worlds before finding us. What makes humans so special? Sue sipped her coffee. Maybe we're not as advanced as they are, but we're survivors. Our DNA shows it. We've adapted to everything this planet has thrown at us. And now we might help another species survive. Jum said quietly. It's a big responsibility. It's what we do best. Solve problems. Help others. A soft light appeared in the sky. The Navi ship in orbit. Tomorrow we start, Jun said. I never imagined my research would extend beyond our world. It's exciting, Sue said. Scary, but exciting. Jun nodded, his mind already racing with possibilities. Tomorrow, they would begin the most important work of their lives, proving that humanity, despite all its flaws, had something valuable to offer the stars. 3 weeks after the Navi arrived, Dr. Jung Kim's lab had transformed completely. New equipment lined the walls, some of it clearly not of Earth origin. Holograms displaying complex genetic patterns floated in the air. June stood in the center, comparing human DNA sequences with the damaged Navi genetic code. "Look at this section here," Jun said to Sue, pointing to a glowing blue strand. "Human DNA has this repair mechanism that the Navi DNA lacks." Sue nodded, tapping notes into her tablet. "It's like their genetic code forgot how to fix itself." Ta entered the lab, moving with that strange fluid grace all Navi possessed. "Any progress today, Dr. Kim?" "Yes, I think so," Jun replied. "Human DNA contains certain repair sequences that might work with your genetic structure. The compatibility is remarkable." Tae's large eyes blinked slowly. "We have a theory about that. Long ago, our ancestors may have visited Earth. There could be a distant connection between our species. That would explain the compatibility," Sue said. "But it raises more questions than answers." The lab door slid open, and Bo rushed in, looking agitated, an unusual display of emotion for a Navi. "Tai, we have received a transmission from the Council," Bo said urgently. "They are concerned about our methods." Tae's posture stiffened. "What concerns?" "Many Council members believe accepting help from humans is inappropriate. They question why a less advanced species should solve our most critical problem." Jun tried not to feel insulted. "Pride won't save your people," he said simply. Tae turned to him. "You are right, Dr. Kim, but many of my people believe accepting human help will make us dependent on your species." "There's more," Bo added. "A group called the Pure Path is gaining support. They oppose any genetic solution that involves other species." Sue frowned. "So they'd rather die out than accept our help?" "Essentially, yes," Bo replied. "They believe our genetic decline is natural and should not be interfered with." Tae's silvery blue hand touched a holographic display, bringing up new data. "We must show results quickly. The Council is divided, but evidence of success will change minds." That night, as June worked late, Ambassador Hannah visited the lab. She looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes. "The situation is getting complicated," she said, accepting the coffee June offered. "The Earth government is nervous. Some officials worry about sharing advanced genetic science with aliens." "That's ridiculous," Jun said. "The Navy are sharing technology centuries ahead of ours." "Fear doesn't always make sense," Hannah replied. "Both sides have extremists who oppose cooperation." Jun gestured to his research. "We're close to a breakthrough. Look at this." He showed her a simulation of human genetic repair sequences working on damaged Navi DNA. The broken strands slowly rebuilt themselves. "It works in the simulation," Jun explained. "We need to test it on actual Navi cells." "Be careful, Jun," Hannah warned. "This research is becoming political. Some powerful people on both planets would prefer it to fail." Dr. Jun Kim sat at his desk, eyes fixed on the genetic sequence displayed on his screen. The lab was quiet except for the soft hum of equipment. He rubbed his tired eyes and reached for his coffee cup. "Another late night, Jun?" asked Dr. Sue Park, his research partner, as she entered the lab. "You know how it is. This gene therapy won't develop itself," Jun replied with a small smile. Suddenly, the lab's security system chimed. The main door slid open to reveal Director 1, looking unusually tense. "Dr. Kim, Dr. Park, please come with me immediately. We have visitors." Jun and Sue exchanged puzzled glances before following Director 1 to the conference room. Through the glass walls, Jun could see several figures seated at the table. His heart skipped a beat when he realized they weren't human. 3 tall beings with silvery blue skin sat perfectly still. Their large, almond-shaped eyes followed Jun's movement as he entered the room. Beside them sat a woman in a crisp diplomatic uniform. "Dr. Kim, Dr. Park, I'm Ambassador Hannah Lee from Earth Diplomatic Court," the woman said, standing to greet them. "Thank you for joining us on such short notice." Jun couldn't take his eyes off the aliens. They were humanoid but clearly not human. Slender limbs, elongated fingers, no visible hair, and those eyes, deep and dark, with a wisdom that seemed ancient. These are representatives from the Na'vi, Hana continued. This is Supreme Scientist Ta, Cultural Liaison Bo, and Medical Director Du. The tallest Na'vi inclined its head. We are honored to meet you, Dr. Kim. Your work in genetic repair has reached our attention. Jun was startled by the perfect Korean accent. You speak our language. We have studied Earth extensively, Tae replied. Your species is unique in ways you may not understand. Director One gestured for everyone to sit. The Na'vi contacted our government 3 days ago. This meeting has been cleared at the highest levels. Hana nodded. The Navy have traveled 17 light years to meet with you specifically, Dr. Kim. Their species faces a crisis. Tae's large eyes blinked slowly. Our population is dying, Dr. Kim. For the past century, our birth rates have declined sharply. Our children are born with increasing genetic defects. Despite our advanced technology, we cannot solve this problem. Bo, the smallest of the 3 Na'vi, added, We have visited 27 worlds with intelligent life. None possessed the genetic solution we seek. Until we found Earth, Du said. Your species shows remarkable genetic adaptability and resilience. Jun leaned forward. I'm not sure I understand. You're saying human DNA might help your species survive. Precisely, Ta said. Our scientists have analyzed samples from your world. Human genetic material contains sequences that might repair our damaged code. Sue spoke up for the first time. How did you get human samples? The 3 Na'vi exchanged looks. Hana cleared her throat. The Na'vi have been observing Earth for decades. They've collected specimens. Without permission, Jun asked, suddenly uncomfortable. Tae's expression remained unreadable. We apologize for this intrusion. We were desperate, but we now seek formal collaboration. Director One pushed a tablet toward Jun. They've shared their research. Look at this. Jun scrolled through complex genetic diagrams. Even with his limited understanding of alien biology, he could see the similarities between certain human genes and the Na'vi genetic structure. This is why we've come, Ta said, to ask for your help openly and respectfully. Our species faces extinction within 3 generations without intervention. Sue studied the data. The compatibility is remarkable, almost as if our species were somehow related. Ta finished. We have considered this possibility. Perhaps our ancestors crossed paths long ago. Director One leaned forward. The government has authorized a joint research project. The Na'vi will share technology in exchange for your expertise. Jun felt overwhelmed. This morning I was working on curing genetic disorders in humans. Now you want me to save an alien species. Hana smiled sympathetically. It's a lot to process, Dr. Kim. But this could be the most important scientific collaboration in human history. The 3 Na'vi stood simultaneously, moving with strange grace. Tai approached Jun and extended a long-fingered hand. Will you help us, Dr. Kim? Will your species share its unique gifts with ours? Jun hesitated, then shook Ta's hand. The alien skin was cool and smooth. I'll do what I can, he said.